awesome.
Catch it!
Not so fast!
You serious?
Excuse me. All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Hey guys, I'm back from my weekly narc therapist session to fight back against the craziness of Disney, and we finally reached the end of this disappointing show, thank God. Now, before we start, I please ask that you watch this video to completion since it helps put this video out to more people like you on YouTube who want to find out how is it this season went so wrong, but also go ahead and watch my other Mandalorian Season 3 Turd Chronicles videos on the playlist above if you haven't yet, so you can actually see how the show slowly deteriorated to this point.
Do it.
Now that all the pre-prep jargon is out of the way, let's get our flame on and fly by this lazy ending.
Oh, no, they didn't.
Oh, yes, they did.
Oh, no, they didn't. Shut up!
Alright, so we begin with finding out the Imperial Gestapo lady is actually a double agent for a very confused Moff Gideon who basically recaps for him what happened to the pirates in episode 5, but then we see Moff Gideon walk to what is basically a Shadow Council board meeting where bickering Imperial warlords irritate the narcissist Moff Gideon so much that he decides to interrupt this pointless discussion by saying that the Shadow Council should look towards the future rather than depend upon the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn, and then he gets further impressed by the council if his cloning project will succeed, but then Moff Gideon decides to turn the tables by dissing his fellow warlords for not sharing the spoils of war evenly between all members of the council.
You just got dissed, bro.
When they ask him why he's requested so many armaments and 3 Praetorian guards, he tells them that it's because of the fact that the Mandalorians still present a great threat to their grand plan because they formed a unified front of many tribes to take back their homeworld, which shocks the council to the point where they just give him whatever he asks for without further questioning him because if he didn't know, Mandalorians are the Star Wars equivalent to the Mongols or Spartans of ancient times.
You're goddamn right.
Now that I've saved you 7 minutes, we jump back to Navarro where Bo-Katan's posse arrives on the planet to prepare to take back Mandalore with the Zealots, and before we can move on, Karga wants to show Mando something that will not only terrify you, but will also make you feel like Disney has truly lost their minds by this point.
What the hell is even that?
What did you do to IG-11?
No, that's IG-12 now. Do you like him?
Do I like him?
No.
Grogu is too young to operate heavy machinery. Maybe when he's older.
No.
Oh, hell no!
Yes. 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 Yes.
Oh, for f***'s sake.
No.
Yes.
Hey, Grogu,
No.
give it.
No.
Grogu, give it back.
What is this crap?
Okay, now that 3 minutes of your time have been saved, we then see the Mandalorians do a gathering where Bo-Katan tells them yet again what they're going to do in Mandalore, which is basically scout to see what they can salvage as they begin the process of resettling Mandalore. But when she asks for volunteers, of course, Mando immediately is eager to leave this planet with Grogu after witnessing the desecration of IG-11's corpse. And yeah, the armorer with some other Mandalorians volunteer as well, but that doesn't matter.
Moving on.
Once they land on Mandalore, the group encounters another group of Mandalorian tribes that apparently survived the entire planet purge and who have been able to survive by scavenging resources from the land while fighting the White Sasquatch Raiders. They then offer them a ride on their ship because they were once loyal to Bo-Katan in the past, and we then get a scene where she is telling everyone at the table that the reason Mandalore was destroyed was because she selfishly agreed to Moff Gideon's terms of surrender by giving the Darksaber to him so that he would spare her people while also hoping to stay in power, but what actually happened is that he double-crossed her, and that's why an entire people lost their home planet for at least 2 to 3 decades.
No, you're not serious.
Now, at this point, she is heavily depressed, and like the White Knight he is, Mando suddenly becomes Jon Snow 2.0 by assuring her that no matter how badly she fucked up, she doesn't need to worry about taking accountability as long as she restores Mandalore, and he also tells her that the reason he will serve her is because of her impeccable character and because her song hasn't been written yet.
What a load of
We then get a hilarious, pointless scene where Axe and Paz Vizsla get into a goddamn fight over their take on Mandalorian chess that nobody intervenes in because it would cause a turf war between the two tribes, so instead we get this resolution.
How does that work?
The group then gets ambushed by some giant Ankylosaurus monster, but they're able to escape at the expense of the roving Mandalorian ship. However, they end up finding a secret passage through one of the tunnels into Mandalore where they monologue about the past for a bit until they get suddenly attacked by stormtroopers in Beskar armor, which, I won't lie, leads to one of two of the best fight scenes in this season.
It was perfect.
After busting through a wall of Beskar stormtroopers, the group is split off and ambushed by them again, who end up overpowering Mando and capturing him, which then leads to Moff Gideon showing up with his black Beskar power armor and monologuing to them about how he's better than them, but that their fleet will also get annihilated because he has TIE fighters that will ambush them while they're unaware.
That escalated quickly.
He then proposes to Bo-Katan to give him the Darksaber again, but this time she runs back to the door behind him to begin cutting it down so they can escape, and for some reason, the rest of the Mandalorians think it's a good idea to shoot at a closed blast door for some reason, but then the fight resumes when Moff Gideon tells his troops to take Mando and kill off the rest before they escape. This then leads to the dumbest yet second best fight scene in the entire season because Paz Vizsla has too much bloodlust and decides he can't stand the show anymore, so he instead says, "Fuck it, I'm not going through a hole in the door, I'm tired of this shit," and shuts the door behind him where he just goes all commando on these stormtroopers by killing them in the most practical yet creative ways possible until the anime sub-villains show up.
God damn.
Oh yeah, after that, the episode just ends abruptly while we're left looking at the lost opportunity that is Paz Vizsla's charred corpse. And before we move on to the next episode, how about you go ahead and hit that whole like, share, subscribe, and all notifications bell button so that more people can see the ridiculousness that is about to unfold in the last episode.
Fun and good for your health.
Alright, I've held you up long enough, so let me tell you what an underwhelming and ridiculous final episode this was.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
So, we pick up right where we left off in the last episode to see Bo-Katan trying to desperately turn this bad situation around, and then we see the scene of Mando being able to easily get out of his captor's hold while beating up their asses until Grogu shows up with IG-11's corpse to save him from certain death.
Because that's what heroes do.
Meanwhile, Axe somehow reaches the inside of the Mandalorian ship with just a jetpack, even though the ship is orbiting the upper atmosphere, to tell his fellow Mandalorians to abandon ship and jetpack themselves back down to the planet with their transport ships in orbit so that they can join Bo-Katan in the fight against Gideon on the surface. And look, I'm no expert on exceptional script writing, but why haven't the Imperial fighters attacked these Mandalorian ships or the many people jetpacking into them? Do they have the technology to evade the TIE fighter scanners, or are the pilots just exhibiting that renowned stormtrooper stupidity? Let me know in the comments below.
Let me know.
After giving an inspiring pep talk to Grogu, the duo set out on their journey to defeat Moff Gideon by just walking around the base casually until they find him, but they also see an interesting door that leads them to this in-game cutscene for some reason where the cowardly astromech droid is being used again as a way to pad time and make this badass sequence with Mando look goofy because Disney really thinks that you, their audience, will notice the fact that they're stretching out this scene as much as they can in order to pad out those sweet, sweet 35 minutes.
shield! Over the shield!
Okay, you know what?
That's pretty good.
Moving on, the duo comes across a random room on the way with a bunch of Moff Gideon clones, which creeps them out a lot to the point where Mando decides to use the easily accessible controls to kill them all off after one of them scares the shit out of Grogu, which was a good call in my opinion.
Those are his clones.
We then get another time-padding segment of 1.5 minutes where Bo-Katan monologues with the Planet Purge survivors in a cave about how life flourished even after Mandalore's destruction, but then all of that is immediately forgotten because reinforcements have arrived, and Disney really wanted to show you this super cool shot of Bo-Katan leading the Mandalorians to battle by pulling out the Darksaber while next to the Armorer.
I don't care. I don't care.
We then get a few seconds of cool scenes of the Mandalorians engaging in an intense aerial jetpack fight with the stormtroopers, but Disney suddenly remembered that they only have a $10,000 CGI budget, so they need to make the most of it by cutting out most of the battle in order to show something hilarious that I will mention in just a few minutes, but first let's keep going with the story.
Let's try to stay on track.
To get back on track, Mando and Grogu get trapped in one of Moff Gideon's long monologues that basically boils down to him being very pissed off that while knowing their exact location at all times, he wasn't able to stop them from destroying his clones who were part of his master plan to create the perfect Force-sensitive soldier that could help him take control over the entire galaxy. And to be honest, I can't blame Mando here for not being able to shoot Moff Gideon's easily exposed head in this scene because I'm sure his brain lost 30 cells after hearing such stupid crap from him, which I'm sure impaired him severely at that moment.
It's pretty bad.
We then get a fight sequence where Mando and Moff Gideon with his power armor decide to duke it out with their fist, but then the bastard decides to cheat by sending out his Imperial guards to gang up on him so he can kill him more easily, but then that plan is interrupted when Grogu walks out to stop them by spamming the no button, which somehow convinces these Imperial guards to just leave without any orders from Moff Gideon because they think that the adorable Walmart toy is more dangerous than a seasoned Mandalorian warrior with full Beskar armor, so they just let Moff Gideon take care of him instead.
Wait, what?
After seeing a snippet of the Titanic jetpack battle being waged outside, we are then shown the most lazy excuse of a fight I've ever seen being done with an animatron in my entire life, where even one extra broke character by just standing there like as if he was questioning his life choices that led to this point. But we don't have time for that pointless BS because we got to see more of a wounded Mando get his ass beating by Moff Gideon until he gets saved by Bo-Katan, who just headbutts him at 150 miles per hour and acts like she didn't just get a massive concussion from a high-speed impact against a hard metal.
In other words,
that's impossible.
We then get a scene where Gideon ends up using his spear weapon against Bo-Katan's Darksaber, and wait a minute, I got too many questions. First off, if Moff Gideon is the type that likes to have the upper hand in each fight, then why the hell does he not use this staff to fight Mando from the beginning? Second, why doesn't Mando pull out his pure Beskar steel spear in order to fight Moff Gideon and the Imperial Guards? What the hell happened to it anyway?
Its mere existence puts Mandalorians at risk. Mandalorian steel is meant for armor, not weapons.
What the hell are you talking about?
Then forge it into armor.
Really? The Book of Boba Fett? A completely different show that nobody knew you had to watch to understand important elements of the season's story explains what happened to such an important item? This weapon saved Mando from being killed by Moff Gideon and many other dangerous enemies, and he just reluctantly lets it go to make Grogu some armor? Would it not have been better if he had kept the spear in secret to protect Grogu from, oh, I don't know, Moff Gideon, the Imperial Guard, evil Force users, or Beskar Star Armor stormtroopers in the future? He looked like he had an easier time using that spear in combat, but no, we can't have good things from Disney Star Wars anymore because they have no idea what to do about such a powerful weapon that is 10 times better than the Darksaber, so I guess they'll just secretly delete it from existence in another show because they'll think no one will notice. Well, guess what, Disney?
Shame on you!
So, while Bo-Katan is fighting Moff Gideon, Mando is able to defeat the Imperial Guards with Grogu's help, but when he comes back, he notices he has to immediately save her ass because he notices that Gideon is beating her up badly after destroying the Darksaber and is about to kill her. While this is happening, Axe flies off from the Mandalorian cruiser and puts it in a collision course that will make the thing go boom in the hopes that it'll kill Moff Gideon and his stormtroopers without any regards for fellow Mandalorians that could possibly be fighting inside. But who gives a crap about minor details like that, right? According to Disney, we're the type of audience that's only satisfied when things are concluded with dramatic big booms when it comes to Star Wars, huh?
What do you think I am, an idiot?
However, we do get the worst Star Wars villain death since Emperor Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker, so at least we get a good meme out of this trash heap.
Copy it.
Oh yeah, Grogu saves Mando and Bo-Katan from a fiery death by using the Force, but then we get a scene where the orphan child of Paz Vizsla is made an apprentice and Grogu is adopted by Mando officially, so technically he is his Mandalorian apprentice that will probably never wear a helmet because he would look ridiculous in one. Also, to quickly wrap up everything else, Bo-Katan becomes the de facto ruler of Mandalore. Mando, along with Grogu, goes back to being a bounty hunter by helping the New Republic hunt down Imperial remnants. IG-11 is resurrected in Navarro as the new marshal for the planet's defenses, but then they end the season like this. Alright, so with that, we're finally done with The Mandalorian, and to tell you the truth, I'm more disappointed than angry at Disney because they willingly decided to sabotage their most successful Star Wars show in a long time, so as a result, I'll give you guys my 2 ratings for the show. In its worst moments, this season has been a 4 out of 10 experience, and in its best moments, it's been a 6 out of 10. So the combined overall rating of this show for me is a 5 out of 10. Now, the reason for it is that throughout the show, Disney Star Wars never respected my time, or the IP they inherited from George Lucas at all, and they made 4 boring episodes where 3 of them were just extremely stretched out plots so that Mando could take a purifying bath on Mandalore, while the 4th one was a forced side quest. Episodes 5 and 7 were decent due to the main plot advancing and good action scenes being shown in between, and then the 6th and 8th episodes were so bad that you can even tell Disney devoted more time into those bad episodes than they did with the rest, which for me already says that they care more about pandering to ideologies that have no place in Star Wars instead of making good stories in this wonderful, fantastical sci-fi world.
I don't know what to say.
Now, don't worry, I will still cover future Disney Star Wars shows because I at least want to let you guys know if those shows are going to turn out good or terrible. But with that, friends, that's all I really wanted to talk to you about today. So I wish you all a great day. Like, sub, and comment if you enjoyed the video, and Namarie.